Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we're following today. U.S. Vice President JD Vance rebukes Israeli critics of the U.S. peace deal with Iran, suggesting Israel only has one friend left. Plus, an Ontario First Nation demands the PM apologize for saying he can outlast a protester who happened to be a woman suffering from mercury poisoning. And residents of a West Lethbridge community voice concerns about potential development in their neighbourhood.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks for joining us. U.S. Vice President JD Vance delivered an extraordinarily direct rebuke to some in Israel who have been critical of the U.S. Iran peace agreement. There have been reports that some of the members of the Israeli cabinet are not thrilled with the deal. Speaking to reporters Thursday at the White House, Vance suggested Israel doesn't have many friends left.
If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
An official signing ceremony was scheduled for Friday in Switzerland, but Vance now says he's not sure exactly when he'll travel to Switzerland for negotiations with Iran. On Wednesday, the spokesman for Iran's foreign ministry, Ismail Beghai, said that Iran's president had digitally signed the Memorandum of Understanding. President Trump signed the document for a second time on Wednesday night after signing it digitally on a Sunday. Grassy Narrows First Nation has repeated its call for Prime Minister Mark Carney to apologize over comments aimed at an Indigenous protester. Back in March, a Grassy Narrows woman suffering from mercury poisoning kept shouting during a news conference Carney attended alongside Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Carney made a comment about her being able to outlast her.
When Mark Carney said that he can outlast me, well, I'm here. And I don't want him to apologize to me. I want him to apologize to my children and my grandchildren and to the people of Grassy Narrows and Wapsamung, because every day we watch them suffer. Every day I wake up and I have mercury poisoning in my body. I feel the effects of it. I watch my children suffer with their mental health issues because of mercury poisoning and how it physically affects them. Mark Carney, you need to apologize to my people, and you need to clean the river, shut down that mill, and compensate our people, because our lives matter.
Calls to shut down the mill have grown since a 2024 study out of Western University suggested the river's contamination is getting worse due to industrial pollution. Federal MPs begin their summer break Thursday after unanimously voting to push through some final pieces of legislation, including the government's controversial Lawful Access Bill, C-22, which would allow law enforcement to get access to digital information more quickly and easily. In an interview coming up later in our show, Alexander Surjanor with the Canadian Constitution Foundation says Bill C-22 is being framed as a bill that would help police and CSIS investigate crimes more easily by allowing a judge to order core internet providers to share customer data. He says, well, laws are already in place for courts to impose these orders. Bill C-22 would expand the scope of what providers would be required to share.
They could be required, after a judge orders them to do so, to do really anything that's required in the according to the police and to the spy agency. If they deem it necessary to create doors, or back doors is the word you hear a lot, to access data that could be location data, messages being sent, the fact that they were sent, to whom and when.
That full interview is coming up later in our program, where Surgeonar will discuss more of his concerns with Bill C-22, which the Liberals just introduced on Tuesday. And if passed, it would cut down the time the House Public Safety Committee can consider the Lawful Access Act. It's noteworthy to mention Carney had a minority government when the spring sitting started. That was before 5 politicians crossed the floor from opposition benches to give him what the Conservatives have called a manufactured majority. Conservatives have also called out Carney for repeatedly missing a question period throughout the spring session. On Tuesday, they marked Carney's 100th absence since becoming a prime minister. Toronto police say they've arrested an outstanding suspect in the U.S. consulate shooting in March. Police say they were called to the consulate on March 10th after 2 suspects allegedly fired shots at the building before driving away in a stolen vehicle. No one inside was injured. Officers arrested 18-year-old Sheldon Tracy Stewart last week and have now also arrested 19-year-old Jara Jabi, who faces multiple charges. The arrest comes as police investigate multiple shootings across the Greater Toronto area, allegedly orchestrated by gun-for-hire networks, and after a constable was killed last week during a related raid. A funeral service was held this morning in Mississauga for an Ontario Provincial Police constable killed on the job. Fellow officers, dignitaries, and family members paid their respects to Constable Tyrone Bali, who died last week in Northern Ontario, the town of Hearst. Police say Bali was fatally struck by a vehicle as officers tried to stop a man who had escaped from a hospital. An 18-year-old has been charged with first-degree murder in the case. Ukraine has hit a major Moscow oil refinery for a second time in a week in one of the biggest drone attacks since the start of the Russian conflict more than 4 years ago. Reports say close to 200 drones fired towards the Russian capital. Specks of black oil have rained down on part of Moscow after a refinery was hit. Columns of thick smoke billowed high into the sky, and 17 people were wounded in the Moscow region, according to local governor Andrei Vorobyov. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a drone strike on a Russian oil refinery today was part of Kyiv's effort to bring President Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table. And Zelensky says, quote, "If Ukraine is going to burn, your Moscow will burn too," end quote. A second person has died of injuries following a 2-vehicle collision southeast of Lethbridge last week. The collision occurred on Highway 4 on the evening of June the 9th, where a Volkswagen Jetta and a Mitsubishi Outlander collided on Highway 4 near Range Road 210. A 72-year-old man from Lethbridge and the driver of the Jetta was declared dead at the scene. 2 occupants of the Outlander were taken to a local hospital. Afterward, one was airlifted via Stars, and the second taken by ground ambulance to a Calgary hospital with serious injuries. RCMP have now confirmed that a 42-year-old woman from Brooks succumbed to her injuries. The investigation remains ongoing. As West Lethbridge continues to see new growth and much-needed development, a new pitch from the city is drawing concerns from its residents. At the city's Community Issues Committee meeting on Tuesday, numerous residents of Paradise Canyon voiced their support, recommendations, opposition to council members. BCN's Landon Hickok has that story.
The city of Lethbridge is looking at amending the land use concept for the Canyons neighborhood for potential new development. The partially developed area of 355 acres could see new establishments in residential, commercial, and recreational spaces. The Lethbridge School Division has even requested a look into building a new elementary school site with new playfields and a capacity of over 800 students.
We see the opportunity in the Canyons is to serve that community which has no school nearby except for driving long distances, but also for the future. As the south end of the west side grows further to the west, having Gerald Proby and the Canyon School in that position, we can balance the student population between those two buildings.
The Canyons and Paradise Canyon neighborhoods are located at the southernmost corner of West Lethbridge, where residents of Paradise Canyon to the east described the area as a peninsula. Concerns that were expressed to the committee on Tuesday included traffic congestion from the potential new school and a lack of emergency access. Canyon Parkway West is the only road that leads in and out of both neighborhoods.
The only access is the west, and our only access is actually one road. So when you have, 800 or 1,000 cars driving across, up and down Canyon Parkway, and across Canyon Parkway every morning and every afternoon to drop off and pick up kids, it makes it very difficult for anybody who lives in the community to enter and exit Canyon Parkway and get onto University Drive.
The outline plan would establish an amended framework for considering any new developments. The CIC voted in favor 7-1 to forward a recommendation to City Council to approve the amended outline plan.
From the very beginning, residents didn't really seem to be heard, so I took the initiative to complete a community survey through Google Forms, to which 95 residents filled out and voiced their opinions. People who filled it out opposed the developments, the amendments to the development plan. So I felt it was our duty today to try to have those residents' voices heard.
Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services say the area does in fact meet safety standards, including potential evacuations, where a private road would be utilized to traffic. For Bridge City News, I'm Landon Hickok.
Two Southern Alberta team members from Excite Lethbridge have earned national recognition. Kara Kale, Manager of Event Development, and Kathleen Boniol, Lead of Event Development and Entertainment, have both been named Top 10 Under 40 recipients by the Canadian Association of Fairs and Exhibitions, or CAFE. The prestigious honor recognizes young leaders who are helping shape the future of Canada's fairs, exhibitions, and events industry.
Considering that it's a national award, to be 10, one of 10 is just an incredible recognition, and I'm so proud of our team and all the things that we've accomplished and all the things that we continue to do for Whoop Up Days and all of our other events. It's an incredible honor, and I'm so proud. Just continue to put Lethbridge on an international stage. I think we've done great things, and I think our future for Whoop Up Days and all of our other events are going to be so bright. Whoop Up Days does not happen with just one person. It is our full team coming together to put on an incredible event. It's 5 days of an event, but months and months of planning and teamwork and creativity. And if it wasn't for the team, I truly wouldn't be here accepting such an awesome award and recognition.
It is exciting for not only my personal career, but for Excite in general, and for Lethbridge too. I think it's exciting to see where Kara and I go from here. Kara has done a great job with the overall event, and I've been doing the stage for the last 3 years. From what I had from the beginning to what we have now, I think we've grown it to how we wanted it to, and now we get to keep growing it for the community.
CAFE is made up of nearly 750 fair and exhibition organizations, along with service providers from coast to coast, representing more than 17,000 events. Each year, 10 dynamic young leaders are recognized for the role they play. Excite Lethbridge is the only organization to have 2 representatives on this year's list, and congratulations to them. Well, it can be difficult for newcomers to settle in a new country where the language, culture, and other aspects of daily life are completely different. With that in mind, Lethbridge Family Services is launching the Find Your Path event. The program is designed to connect temporary foreign workers with the information, resources, and support they need to succeed in Alberta. Gregory Rubas with Lethbridge Family Services says Southern Alberta is home to a growing population of temporary residents, including international graduates, service industry workers, seasonal agricultural employees, and refugee claimants. While these individuals contribute significantly to local communities and the economy, many remain unaware of the services and opportunities available to help them build successful lives.
So talking about, for example, common misconceptions about immigration pathways and recent changes that have been made that they should be aware about, as well as different things like Francophone and French learning resources. One of the best immigration pathways now in Canada is to have a high level of French. And a lot of people come to me asking, okay, well, what can I do about that? How can I learn? For people who are in employment situations that are less than ideal, if there's any kind of employer abuse or things like that, also having an idea of what resources are there, who can I turn to with some of these problems. Again, there are resources out there, but it's not always known or not always evident where they can go. So they can expect that, as well as plenty of community organizations in and around, so the ability to just talk directly with them, network with them. And one of the things that we're really excited about is the opportunity to have for people to sign up for 15-minute individual sessions with an immigration professional to talk and sort of address questions about their personal situation, uncertainties that they might have. We're expecting about 150 participants as well as service providers.
The free event will take place on Thursday, October 22nd from 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. at the Trade and Convention Center. Those interested in attending must register through the Lethbridge Family Services website. There seems to be no end of discussion these days about Israel on the world stage, much of it negative, but a musical event Friday in Calgary is hoping to bring a more positive perspective. Internationally recognized Messianic Jewish artist Joshua Aaron and multiple Dove Award-winning Christian artist Aaron Schust will present Brothers Together. Joshua Aaron says, well, politics is not part of the evening. A trip to his home in Israel last year during the 12-day war with Iran was eye-opening.
I'm sitting there in the bomb shelter, our family, for almost 2 weeks. Well, you go in and out. When the alarms stop, you can go out, and then there's a pre-alarm, and you start getting ready to go in. Then the alarm goes off, you go back in. Thank God we have a bomb shelter. We still have a home in the Galilee in Israel. But during those 12 days, I'm just looking up some of my mainstream Christian brothers, people I've written songs with, and I'm seeing absolute silence. So I don't want to call it anti-Semitism, but the enemy is doing something. By silencing the church, he created a vacuum, and it's been filled with hate. That silence of the church has allowed room for hate to be louder than it has been in modern history against our people. So that's one thing I love to do what I do. I'm glad I get to sing. I've been doing it for almost 18 years now. And we just got a brand new album coming out. We recorded live at the ancient synagogue of Magdala, where Jesus once taught on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. We don't want to be silent. We want to be in love, speak the truth in love, as the word says, but we don't want to be silent. Silence is a very dangerous thing.
Once again, Joshua Aaron and Aaron Schust will present Brothers Together. The concert starts at 7 p.m. Friday at Bethany Chapel in Southwest Calgary. Ticket information is available at brotherstogether.eventbrite.ca. And before we go to break, it was Celebration Day today in New York City. The New York Knicks celebrated their first NBA championship in 53 years with a ticker tape style parade through Manhattan's Canyon of Heroes. Fans stood shoulder to shoulder, sometimes on each other's shoulders, or climbed traffic lights to catch a glimpse of the players and the Larry Brown Championship Trophy. Jalen Brunson even gave the fans a chance to touch the trophy. The Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs 4-1 in a best-of-7 to win the title. And congratulations to the Knicks, well-deserved. I like seeing all the confetti and paper raining down on them. They didn't really show it there, but it's as though there was like blue and orange paper raining down on them in the streets. Lovely.
Sean Haney here with realagriculture.com. Today I'm out in Madden, Alberta, about to speak at a meeting, a room full of ranchers, but we got some ranching news this week. A major crisis in Canadian agricultural advocacy has been temporarily averted at this 11th hour. The Canadian Cattle Association and the Alberta beef producers have officially signed an interim participation agreement preventing a total structural fracture of the national beef lobby. The deal follows a dramatic ultimatum issued by Alberta last June, where the province threatened to completely withdraw from the national group by June 30th of 2026 over deep grievances regarding governance, transparency, and representation. Under this new temporary framework, Alberta Beef will provide critical gap funding to support the national body from July 1st to the end of August. While Alberta's elected representatives will only participate as non-members for the next 2 months, the pause here gives both sides a vital window to finalize sweeping bylaw reforms that Alberta was pushing for. The final showdown lands this August at the National Semi-Annual Meeting, where the 94-year-old organization is going to vote on permanent structural evolution. Stay tuned. For Bridge City News, I'm Sean Haney with realagriculture.com.
Alberta made a major announcement to support its film industry. As part of Budget 2026, $60 million is being invested through Alberta's film and television tax credit, while $5.4 million is being invested through the Alberta Media Fund. The announcement was delivered Wednesday by Minister of Arts, Culture and Status of Women, Tanya Furr, as the 2026 Banff World Media Festival wraps up. She announced the province will be bringing the FTTC and the AMF together under her ministry and expanding the FTTC to include unscripted television and game shows to increase the incentive to film here.
This more coordinated approach strengthens delivery and makes it easier for industry partners to navigate and access support. It also provides the clarity and predictability producers need to keep choosing Alberta. In a competitive global market, that kind of certainty matters. It gives producers the confidence to plan, invest, and return. Just as importantly, these supports are helping build a stronger workforce here in Alberta. From writers and directors to crew and post-production specialists, more Albertans are finding opportunities in this growing sector.
Officials say more than 60% of Alberta-made productions are filmed or planned to be filmed in small cities, towns, and rural locations, offering a positive economic impact to communities outside of Calgary or Edmonton. And now, here's a look at today's markets.
The TSX was down 155 to 34,969. The Dow is up 72 to 51,564. The S&P 500 was up 80 to 7,500. And the Nasdaq was up 496 to 26,517. West Texas Intermediate Oil was down 23 cents to 76.56 US per barrel. Natural gas was up 7 cents to 3.21 US. Gold was down 50.67 to 4,290 US an ounce, and silver was down 2.18 to 65.70 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $8.14 per bushel. Barley is at $6.53. Canola is at $16.58 and corn is at $7.36 per bushel. Live cattle were down 92 cents to $254.80. Feeder cattle August contract was down 82 cents to $366.60. Lean hogs are up 37 cents to $95.02, and the Canadian dollar was up, sitting at $70.80 US.
Recapping one of today's top stories, U.S. Vice President JD Vance on Thursday issued a stark warning for the Israeli government to get on board with President Donald Trump's controversial agreement with Iran, suggesting Israel had alienated much of the globe in recent years and the U.S. was its last remaining major ally. Should Canadians be concerned that the Liberal government is trying to ram through a bill that will force core internet providers to share more of your usage data with police and spy authorities? Well, our next guest says yes. Coming up after the break, Alexander Surgenar with the Canadian Constitution Foundation says Bill C-22 could turn your phones, smart TVs, and even cars into spy devices under the guise of investigating criminal activity. My interview with him coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or our YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our content and poll questions.